The greatest Star Trek themes, if not the greatest television theme song.
You know, I knew it would get there because I have faith in the heart.
Basically, I turn into Jack Black when I don't remember the lyrics to something.
Now, see, here's a fun little note for you. That was her first Star Trek series.
Oh, and you continued on? Bless you.
You did.
You must have been like, okay, there. All this kerfuffle about it. There's got to be at least something decent.
So here's how this. Well, Jolene Blaylock, but here's how this happened. We got to the episode where I knew the next episode was going to have the Borg, and I told her we can't watch the next episode. There's something you have to watch first, and she's like, "What's that?"
So we stopped watching the entire series and went back and started at the beginning.
Hold on. And I said, honestly, you should be watching all of Star Trek and all of Star Trek Next Generation in 2 movies, but I'm content with you just watching 7 seasons of Star Trek: The Next Generation in 2 movies. But here's why that works so well. Here's why that works so well. Like, so
of course, the first season of Next Gen.
Yes.
Oh my god.
I told her the whole time, like, it gets better. I swear to God, it gets better.
Just ignore the jungle gym. Just ignore the jungle gym and the tar monster.
So the Borg happens, that made everything all special and worthwhile. So when it was the right time during the series, we also did the first episode of Deep Space Nine, so we could explain where Chief O'Brien went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Very smart. Very smart.
You did it in chronological order.
I was do it in pretty much completely chronological order.
I was so top of it.
And I've seen a lot of the original series, just not all of it.
But then here's the best part. So the best part is we watched First Contact, right? And at the end of First Contact, I went,
yes.
Okay, we can watch Enterprise now. And she goes, oh, it has the Borg? And I'm like, see? That's what I was looking for. Right there. Right there. I was like, I could not have your first contact with the Borg be on goddamn Enterprise.
Enterprise, no.
Because I wasn't exactly Penny from The Big Bang Theory when we first met. She's a caricature, of course.
But she's based on her.
But her character evolution is very, I was not an actress or any of that, but I didn't know about anything.
So when we did Deep Space Nine, we did the Trouble with Tribbles before Trials and Tribulations.
Smart.
That was a double feature that night. It was beautiful.
Yep. So smart.
And then when you think of like how profound of an impact it's had on my life, I've been fully geeked.
Attaboy, Flynn.
I remember a time I wasn't.
That's right, girl. I geeked you so good.
Yeah, I mean,
but I sports you.
Okay. Yeah.
Well,
I soccered you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me,
really, our kid really did it, but he laid that groundwork.
Well, I soccered her, and she soccered you.
Yeah, I was pretty much a geek from the get-go because, like, to my knowledge, the very first movie I saw in the theater was Return of the Jedi, and the very first full-length novel that I read was the Empire Strikes Back novelization. And so I for me, it was all Star Wars, and I really dug Next Gen, and I had already watched a bunch of, the original series when it would come on during the day on like some. I guess was the CBS affiliate in syndication, but yeah. So I very much enjoy both of the universes, but I was hardcore Star Wars back in the day.
But to be fair to Enterprise, that last season, that was what we wanted the whole time.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
We wanted the whole time,
and I'm even fine with the finale.
Yeah,
because they're like, the whole thing was just recording. I'm like, are you okay? So even if the whole thing,
a pivotal moment, a crazy moment in his lifetime, and went back to the original.
Even if it was all a recording or all a holodeck, digital record, whatever. Again, Riker at an incredibly important, influential moment chose that crew to reference. That is a high honor, you morons.
Yeah. I mean, if nothing else, that for you effers, that really should have legitimized it.
Right?
All right. Oh, God, I need to think of an intro. Okay.
Although now we know that the greatest Star Trek moment was Boimler Riker sitting over the chair. Or over the saddle.
Good times. All right, y'all ready?
Thumbs up.
Yep.
I didn't prep appropriately. It's a new month, GRD Sweekly. Hey, everybody. Sweek Radio Daily. Hey, fantastic.
Yay.
Welcome to it, ladies and gentlemen, episode number.
I don't know.
Okay, so if you have video, Rich showed you. Wait, is it really?
Yeah,
400?
340.
Oh,
Oh, 340.
I got to check my notes and see what I got. That's crazy. Anyway, we're the fine folks from GeekRadioDaily.com.
I checked the web seat.
Another week to talk about all kinds of goofy and nonsensical stuff. The folks bringing it to you today, the lady who starts her day the exact same way. That there is the Flinstress.
I'm awfully sleepy right now.
The woman who has a plan, it's Carol the Cat.
Enough clowning around. It's time to kick off Operation Sweep.
Damn right. The gentleman who has standards. It's podcasting Fred Siegfried.
Clues are for anyone, even if it is hard.
And I'm the guy who can explain it. I'm the wonderful Billy Flynn.
It's not that I'm lazy. It's that I just don't care.
There's a fine distinction. What happened on this fine, fantastical day, yo?
By the way, for those wondering, my red light isn't working because it got a little too close in the hinge for my my arm here over the past couple of years, and it got chewed up.
Oh, no. I was going to say, you do look like you're in the dark.
Oh,
It's
Far less
totally me.
demonic.
I didn't realize you meant your lighting light. I was like, what, the red light that says you're on? Who cares, man? We know you're on. We can see you. The hell?
No, I was thinking more like Moulin Rouge red light special. So
Roxanne.
Meet you in the red room, close the door, and
There we go.
dim the lights.
Oh, there you go. Oh, that's creepy.
now.
Oh, I have various colors of cellophane, not within reach. Next time we'll all pick a color. Anyway,
That reminds me. We have to order a new light for karaoke. That was,
do a break.
it's dead.
Okay, it's dead,
I'm so-
Jim.
Come sometime and you'll know.
Oh,
Damn, I said it.
life. Well, I've been busy doing these geeky things, like the things on these lists. Okay, I'm just gonna start with. Let's just go ahead and start. Have you all seen Doctor Who?
Yes.
Those of you
Yes.
who are watching Doctor Who. have all
Carol
seen
told me I
Doctor
had to watch it, get
Yes.
caught up,
Yes.
so we could
Yes.
talk about it.
Sure.
Good. Thank you, Carol. Okay. Where should we start? So Carol, last time you were plugging your ears and we weren't talking about it. So the Ronnie,
The
huh?
Ronnie. Yeah.
I was
fine.
right.
Yeah.
I was right.
Yeah, I kind of had an inkling of that as well. So I was fine with that.
I like the
That's-
casting. I like her costume. I like
Mhm.
the whole styling of her. Of course,
Mhm.
it's like why did the bi-generation was such like a out of the box thing when it happened, David Tennant and Shutigawa. But
Mhm.
like so she got a bi-generation.
Once
It's
you
just
break
like,
that seal.
Mhm.
right.
I guess
But
anybody can
so
do it
it's just
now.
like- well, right. Well, is everybody just gonna bi-generate from now on? Are we gonna see?
well,
Did we just not see the second person? I don't
That's
know.
how they're going to bring back all the Time Lords. No, I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm
But Shutigawa
I'm
is the
not
doctor,
happy.
right?
Was.
Well, was.
was.
Well, I was gonna save that for talking about like the good parts of the episode.
Okay.
Wow, you were happy they got rid of him? Jeez. Wow.
No, I was not at all.
You
I
just
very
said I was
much-
going to save it for the good parts of the show. What you left was the
No.
good parts of the show. It's what you
No,
said.
no. I was
Those are
gonna
your
say I
words.
was gonna save the bad part. I misspoke. I was gonna save the bad part for after we talk about the good parts. Is what I was
Okay.
trying to say. So, his outfit, good part, high,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Wow. Every moment
Yes.
he's on screen, he's just gorgeous and funny and amazing, and I just really, really loved him as the Doctor. I understand why, from what I've read, that he wanted to go, but wow, yeah. Ugh.
If you
Yeah.
ever get a
Still is
chance to
sad.
see the National Theater production of The Importance of Being Earnest with Him, it
Know what I
is
mean?
I've seen stills
hilarious.
of it, but I haven't actually
Yeah,
seen
it is
the
hilarious,
production.
and oh my god, he looks so good in the costume.
It was crazy
Cool.
because
We should watch that next time Kev is in town because he was in The Importance of Being
when that
Earnest.
hit and they were doing
Who's
that,
Merrimack.
Kevin was also he was the butler, one of the butlers in Importance of Being Earnest.
Yeah,
Although I will say about that outfit, I loved the kilt. Didn't like the pants underneath. To me, that threw off the whole.
Look, he
Drop the whole thing.
bi-generated.
Oh, I
He
didn't
can
look
dre-
that
He can
closely, I
dress
didn't
both
notice.
ways. He bi-generated.
No, it's
I
like
didn't even notice.
you can't like if it was leggings, like crazy colored leggings or something like that, but not freaking jean pants underneath the his His jilt.
Jorts, man,
You
jorts.
just
His
don't
j-
understand
he-
fashion, man.
He had a jilt, okay? A jean kilt.
Yeah.
Everything
Yeah,
else was
understand.
fantastic.
it was.
fashion.
It
You know,
was
I
pretty.
love him.
It didn't
Gene
seem
Kilt.
like it would be comfortable. A jilt.
Fair enough.
I didn't like how they. I mean, with Belinda, right, and how it was like always her daughter, and then they like
Yeah.
rewrote all of that, but it wasn't always also the doctor's
Yeah.
daughter, Poppy. Let's talk about Poppy in general.
But
What do we
Poppy,
think?
because Poppy's not done. That's still something
No.
that's going to be coming back in future seasons. That's not done. Because
Well,
Belinda's
because
whole
like she would
timeline,
have Time Lord DNA, but they didn't sense that they scanned
But
the
she doesn't.
scanner and she was 100% human.
yes.
Right.
And then how Lily White is the dude that she ends up banging to give us Susan? Because Susan's white
Yeah.
and Poppy is a beautiful shade of dark.
So,
Yes.
as an old school Doctor Who fan,
Hmm.
do you know how much I flippin' geeked out when that was Susan? Because that's the
Mhm.
actual actress. Oh my god!
Yeah, that was actually
Phenomenal.
That was actually
But
Susan.
I
it was
lost
set
my
up
mind.
with no delivery on that, right?
Mhm.
Like, and
Yeah.
that's the thing in this whole season. There were so many things that were never delivered on that
Yeah.
were dropped all over the place. And when
Well,
are we going to get any of those things?
Here's a question for you, crew. You ready? Is she the boss of the Time Hotel?
Susan?
Yes.
Oh, huh.
Possible.
Right?
I mean,
That would explain her ability to communicate with him. That's interesting.
Mhm.
And that's
Well,
why
because
the boss.
that makes a lot of sense because they were alluding to that boss. But yeah,
Yeah.
huh?
Entirely
Or that's
possible.
another
That's just a
theory of
woman
mine that goes
thing.
out the window. But
Yeah.
Like how many times you were sure it was the Rainy before it was the Rainy?
Yeah.
Everybody had so many different,
No,
like,
every
oh, it's going to be the
woman
Rainy. It's going to be the
showed
Rainy.
up.
I've never suspected anyone else of being the Ronnie. This is my one. I was like, she's the Ronnie. She's the Ronnie.
What about the
Missy?
yes, thank you.
Who?
You thought maybe there was a chance she was the Ronnie.
Mm-hmm.
Who?
Missy, the master.
The
Female
master.
master.
Yeah.
I recall us having conversations about it possibly being.
It was
Not that it
possibly
was.
They wanted us to think it was the Ronnie.
Yeah.
Then, and so that they could flip it to be the female version of the master.
You know,
Yeah,
fair
I think
enough.
at some point actually somebody tweeted something about just some random thing about the Ronnie. Some production
Mhm.
person
She was the
said
red
something
herring,
random
but-
about the Ronnie just to make a red herring.
The Ronnie
Yeah.
hearing.
A Ronnie herring.
So, okay, what do we think?
No.
Billie
No.
Piper.
No.
No.
I have no idea.
I'm-
There better be a damn good explanation. I honestly did not like the David Tennant thing. I did
I
not.
didn't like that either. I'm at this point
I know
with New
people love
Who,
him,
I'm
and that's
kind of
fantastic. But
frustrated.
that frustrates
Their
me. that Doctor
ratings
Who-
are down, and so they're trying to bring back in the people from when
That's
it was
not
the
what's going to
most
bring the ratings
successful.
back up.
No.
There's another way to
No.
do this. There's another way to bring her back that's not this. Although, I have to admit, if you remember the 50th anniversary special, when she's talking to the War Doctor, she explained to him that she appeared to him this way because it was somebody from your past or your future. Which, from the War Doctor's perspective, that makes sense. However, future as
Timey-wimey
in
wibbly
now,
wobbly. Yeah.
Yeah, well, when it comes to when it comes to casting Tenet, so the real world aspect of it, I get it. You got Russell T Davies coming back. You are transitioning from the first female Doctor, which the writing failed Jodie Whittaker on that.
yes, she deserved love. She got and kudos for her being in this because she was fantastic.
Yes,
Yeah.
but so
And they pretty much straight up said that her and Yaz were like
Yeah,
a thing.
yeah.
and so they know coming up is going to be the first Black Doctor and first openly out, no, 100% gay Doctor. So they needed that kind of transition to let, fans who, are idiots, to let them feel comfortable with the transition to going from one to the next. So on that, I'm fine with the way they explained it.
There was definitely still some chemistry with him and Belle, though. I mean, like,
Oh, sure.
I don't think. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm not trying to say about his sexuality, but
Well, I don't know if
they have
that-
a couple glasses of wine and they hook up.
I mean, they
I
got
don't
a
know
kid
if the
together, right?
Doctor can be 100% anything
No,
No,
Right.
at any time.
Right.
the Doctor is very much.
Aliens.
David
even.
Bowie.
Because that was that whole thing when he was with Groff was like, wait, is this who I am now? It's like, yeah, you are, and you kind of always have been if you think about it.
Mhm. Yeah, and so you've got
Eccleston had a moment with Captain Jack.
Right.
exactly. So for me, when the storyline explanation with the bigeneration and being in Tenet into Chudy, I'm just like, okay, cool. I mean, it's timey wimey. These are the guys that are making the canon. They can do whatever the hell they want to.
Sure.
Did they explain it enough? Yeah, sure. It's Time Lord magic. Okie dokie.
But because we also didn't have a whole lot of them together. We did it
Yeah.
first. It was like him ushering in,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the new doctor.
And it was-
right? And then he kind of stepped aside and let him have his story. But
Well, but there was also the emotional explanation of it where you've got the one who can go and work on that while the other one can be full of more joy, even though every episode Chudigatwa gets to showcase his ability to roll a single tear, which is phenomenal and whatnot. But for crying out loud, I just wanted one episode where he didn't have to do that, unless he loves doing that, in which case,
right.
well done.
Go for it. Right.
So-
It's a shame they didn't have an episode called One Tear.
Yeah, exactly. So, excuse me. When it comes to explaining how the Doctor is regenerating into the face of one of his companions, it doesn't make sense. But you know what? In my book and in my heart, Russell T Davies and his crew, certainly over the course of Chudigatwa's run, they have enough credit in the bank that I'm looking forward to seeing how they explain it.
This better be another damn one-off though, like Tenet. I do not.
We don't need a
I
season
have a
of
problem
Rose
with
Tyler Doctor.
No.
I didn't need an episode of Rose Tyler Doctor Who. I
Thank you.
didn't need
Because
even
I
a
was
special
never a
appearance
fan of
by
Rose Tyler.
Doctor
I was never
Who.
a fan.
Neither was I. So
Well, I mean, the
this
first
to
couple
me,
of episodes, but when we got to the whole lovey-dovey doctor thing, I'm like, this is not my show. Stop it.
I was like, whatever.
I'm-
It's the new version. They've got to appeal to the new
It's
kids.
the difference between old school and new school. I find it kind of gross because this is a
He's
900 plus
900
year old
years old.
alien.
Right.
And think
And
of the
she's
tricks
20.
he's learned. Come on.
She's 20.
Yeah,
In
but
that first episode with Eccleston, she's 20.
you got to think
I was
about
like,
it.
No, that's gross.
Carol, you got to think about it, because when he was 20, she was negative 900 years old.
So it's still in there. So here's another fun question for you. You ready? She says, "Oh, hello," and the doctor doesn't traditionally break the fourth wall. So unseen to us, did someone pop up and she was speaking to them?
Well, unfortunately, we have like a
I
year and a half, 2
overthink
years.
this. Yeah.
Have
We-
they
We
actually
find
signed a
out.
contract for another season?
No.
Yeah,
right,
so we don't know. This
No.
Right.
This could be
technically
it.
that was the series finale until we hear something else.
Yeah.
Right. So I think they did it for shock value, to get people
Yeah.
talking about Doctor Who, and to
Mm.
build, to be able to demonstrate maybe in a very real way to Disney, hey, there is interest in this
Yeah.
show. Don't kill
Look,
it.
if you really wanted to shock some people and have a former companion be the doctor, why not Adric? Thank you. Thank you. I'm here all week. I'm here
You
all
know,
week.
honestly, we wouldn't have these
It's
questions
gonna-
if it was
Ace
Donna.
would have been awesome.
But we wouldn't have had these questions if it was Donna. Because we would have
Donna
had the
is beloved by all.
No, we wouldn't have these questions because there was already the Doctor Donna. So it's entirely
Yeah.
possible,
Dr.
since
Donna.
some of his regeneration was in there, maybe
That
some
would
of
have
it.
made a lot more sense. It really would have.
Yeah.
Rose also did look into the soul of the TARDIS, like look into the TARDIS.
Oh, you know what? There we go. That is and see, that's the thing. Is like, now when we're talking about it and thinking about it, there are potential threads that it could be, but we won't know until, like you were
But
saying,
at one
Terry.
point, that's the only thing. That's the thing is I will watch every bit of Doctor Who that's on TV. Let's not pretend otherwise, right? But I would like to see those threads become a tapestry.
Mhm.
That's
Ooh,
makes sense.
ooh, that was
You
very
like that
nice.
metaphor, huh?
That was
You like
very
that?
nice.
So let's see. Now
I feel like we should close the
Outrage.
show on that, Billy. I mean, that was.
Right,
It's not going to get any better.
Set it up.
Yeah, there we go.
Um,
Just-
I don't know. My
We
knees
watched
working.
this fun We watched this fun cooking show. It's called 24 in 24, where they take 24 chefs and they have to do challenges for 24 consecutive hours. Thankfully, we
Wow.
didn't watch it over 24 consecutive hours, but it was pretty cool. It was pretty crazy. But I was
Are they
also
just
like,
trying to kill
why are they
somebody?
letting these people use knives? But nobody hurt themselves. And this is the second season. It was kind of like watching a train wreck where you're watching people and you're like, my brain is not braining good, and yet there's still like heat and knives and everything. So you're just watching going, "There's no way,"
Paprika?
but every
Have you ever worked?
every one of them made
Have-
it out unscathed.
Have you ever worked in a kitchen, Terry?
No.
Professionally?
No.
The
No.
amount of cocaine
Oh,
that
God.
flows through
Yes.
those. No. They're fine. Matter of fact, they didn't sleep for another 3 days.
Yeah.
For what
The
they
guy
need to
who
get through.
won was celebrating 30 months of sobriety, but everyone else, I'm
From
sure, was
drinking.
probably-
Yeah,
No,
from
that was
drinking.
that was drinking.
But they were
Drugs
filming
is something
them.
different.
They were filming them the whole 24 hours.
Yeah, it's not like anybody could
I
just
mean, I guess they had to
accidentally.
have gone to the bathroom.
Not in the
You know.
bathroom. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, not in the bathroom. You're right. Anyway,
Here, I need to hold on. I need to smell this flour. Make sure it's okay. Yep, it's good. All right, let's get cooking.
That's the
I have
best
to
flour
measure it.
ever.
I have to measure it very precisely in little rows.
Is this sugar really sweet?
Yeah.
Isn't that sugar sweet?
Nice one. Because that is actually a. We were all talking about other things, and you're talking an actual.
I've got
I don't
fish in
understand
this.
I don't understand how any sleep-deprived individual can actually make a reduction. That's my thing, you know?
Yeah. Craziness. And then one more. So we've watched a couple of episodes. I'm not sure if one of y'all recommended this or whatever. It's The Residence on Netflix, and it's there was a murder in
In the White House.
the White House, but
Oh.
in the like family quarters in the White House. And the main detective is Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black.
Yes.
Who's I will
Okay.
say her name and I will pronounce it correctly in a minute.
Her character is great.
Oh, okay. Suzanne Warren. Well, that was the character, but her name is Uzo Aduba. Uzo Aduba.
Nice.
Okay.
Hey,
Mhm.
Yeah, I was gonna say, how would you mess up Susan Warren?
I was like, yeah, right? What?
Am I pronouncing?
Susan Warren.
I'm sorry. Am I pronouncing that right? Pete.
I'm taking
Johnson?
attendance. I'm looking for
Bob?
Suzanne.
Bob, aren't your names
Suzanne. Wow.
Susani. It's an Italian dish.
Suzanne.
Yeah,
She's pretty good.
She's a consulting detective for the police force who was on her way out of town when she got the call. So she is your I know things. I'm a very smart individual, and I will pick up all the
Neurodivergent, quirky person.
and I am
Yeah.
not going to have any of your nonsense because it's my investigation.
Mm.
It's quite solid. Do you know who our murder victim is in the first episode?
Abe Vigoda.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Oh.
Yeah.
So I got to think there's going to be some flashbacks because you don't hire him for 5 minutes of screen time.
And certainly not as the victim. Normally as the villain.
Exactly. He killed
He
himself.
may be
Oh, wait,
both.
no, they ruled that out.
He may be
Is that what happens to like old aging character actors? Like really good ones? Like they stop being the killer and become the victim, kind of like how women stop being the
Didn't you
sex
watch
symbol
Murder,
and
She
become the
Wrote?
grandma?
Yes, Murder She Wrote. Yes.
Okay, that's a bad example of saying, of me saying that going from the grandma to, or from the sex symbol to the grandma, because she kind of flipped those. You know what I'm talking about? Like the bed knob, her broomstick. What?
Wow.
I need regular headphones. I think my battery is dying. But anyway, and I won't say the main thing that Flynn is going to say for his, but I did get to participate in that as a little bit
okay,
as well
cool.
tonight. So I'm going to let him talk about that. So I'm going to say that's been my geeky week.
Shortest ever. Cool.
No, we
Okay.
had to talk a long time about Doctor Who.
True. Very
Yeah.
true.
So I'll go next.
Good pivot.
I'll be right back.
So TV wise, I finished up the first season of The Studio on Apple TV. If you like movies and you like behind the scenes type stuff with movies, I thought it was very enjoyable. I laughed a lot. I'm still waiting for Kool-Aid, the movie, to come out, starring Ice Cube as the Kool-Aid Man.
Kool-Aid.
Not LL Cool J, really?
No. Ice Cube. He's an Ice Cube.
Yeah.
Well, I know Ice Cube. He's in Ice Cube, but I was thinking,
Come on.
who's playing Kool-Aid if he is an Ice Cube?
Um, but I really enjoyed that, and then I have also been catching up on Doctor Who, and I've been watching Murderbot on Apple TV. If you,
Murderbot.
yeah,
Murderbot.
with Alexander Skarsgård, I'm enjoying it. It's
Mhm.
kind of goofy fun. It also has Polka Dot Man, whose last name I could never pronounce correctly.
Dushmalin. Dushmalin.
Yeah, has
Dashhund.
him in it as a slightly augmented human
Malin Ackerman.
who
Hmm?
feels he's superior to Murderbot. I don't know if anyone's ever read any of the Murderbot novellas, but it's about a security robot that breaks its protocol
Mhm.
and um, can do whatever it wants now because it's no longer hampered by the three laws of robotics, but it gets sidetracked by TV programs,
Yeah, what
including this
is
very
yeah, go ahead.
oh God, what's the name of the show?
It's a space soap opera, something of the galaxy or something like that.
Something
Shoot.
of the moon, something of the oh God, what's the show in Murderbot now?
I'll look it up. Murderbot soap opera. The Rise and Fall of Sanctuary Moon.
Moon, that's it. Yes, that stars John Cho as the captain of the ship, who's having an affair with one of the
I'm
androids
John
on the
Cho.
bridge. So it's actually really it's a good fun story within a story. Him watching the soap opera, but yeah, he's helping this group of hippies on a planet at this point because they purchased him. So I'm enjoying it. It's not done with the season yet. They're dropping it every Friday, and I think they're 4 episodes in. But I really like it. Movie wise, I don't know where I ended last time
With a movie.
with a movie, but I think I'll start here. I watched a movie called, I think I might have talked about this one. Everyone is Gonna Die. Somebody recommended this to me, and it was horrible.
Wait, is this
And
the?
I will never take.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
it's trying desperately to be funny games, but it doesn't have the star power or the directorial or anything behind it to
Ain't
make
got
it
a damn
as
thing.
watchable as funny games. So it was terrible. And then I watched um, Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person.
I want to see
This
this.
is a this is a French film.
I want to see
Um,
this.
this is a French romance.
Of course, it's a
If you
romance. It's
like-
French.
About a vampire, and in this world, vampires are generally born without an empathy circuit in their brain. Only she does have empathy, so she doesn't want to just go out and kill people. so, so she starts attending suicide support groups to find that person who might just, let
Oh, no.
himself be a victim.
Wow.
And she finds one in
Wow.
Paul. So, but if you like movies
usually
like Your Monster or Lisa Frankenstein, I think you'll really enjoy this. I thought it was super charming. Really loved it. Liked that one.
What
And
was
then
that called?
it's called Humanist Vampire Seeking Consenting Suicidal Person. And then I was watching Horror Express for Terrible Movies with Wonderful People. That's a
Yes.
rewatch for me. And I noticed on Tubi that they had made a remake of Terror Train, the
Yes.
Jamie Lee Curtis. So I watched Terror Train, the remake.
Wow.
It
Carol,
was
not only was it a rewatch for you, do you remember doing the commentary for
She did
Horror
not.
Express?
We were as we were
didn't.
talking about it. She's like,
Didn't
"Oh, that's
remember.
right. I did see this."
I didn't remember. But Terror Train, the remake was terrible. It was awful. And then because I was like half into a bottle of wine, I watched Terror Train 2, which oddly enough came out the same year as the remake. So
yeah.
you can tell these were really well done. That was worse than the remake.
The remake of Fright Night sequel came to DVD like 3 months later, and wasn't a sequel.
No, it wasn't. Then I went and saw Final Destination Bloodlines. I was slightly disappointed. I'm going to get more into that. I have a rundown. I need to edit it, but I have a review of this and then a rundown of all of the Final Destination movies because I happen to like that franchise. This is the final appearance of Tony Todd.
Yep.
He does actually have a scene, and it broke my heart.
Got to improvise a good chunk of that.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then we went and saw a screening of the short films of David Lynch. It is as weird and bizarre as you think
As
it
it
is.
should be. As it should be. Yes.
As it should be. And of course, I loved it because it's David Lynch. And then on HBO Max, I watched the 3.5 documentary Pee Wee as himself. If you are at all a fan of Paul Rubens or Pee Wee Herman, I highly recommend this. It's a really good documentary. Yes, you will cry at the end.
Mhm.
But man, we did him dirty. We did him dirty.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
totally.
Yeah.
And I
Because
thought,
kudos to him because his Saturday morning Pee Wee's Playhouse show, that opening board with all the pictures, even does have a picture of J. Bob Dobbs on it. So, Pee Wee, thank you.
yeah. But yeah, it goes into now he documented a lot of his pre-Pee Wee life because he was in art school. So there's a lot of backstory, and it's him talking directly to the camera, and you can tell he would prefer to do this himself and not have somebody else direct it because he comes across as somewhat combative at times. But he's also very charming and very funny. So, and just the end will break you.
Like
And
combative, but like justified in his combativeness, right?
kind of,
Well,
yeah.
there was even a little trailer for this where he talks about it, about how when they get kind of thing.
Yeah. He obviously wanted to direct his own documentary about himself.
You're not supposed to direct your own documentary, they say.
Yeah, you're not supposed to. But they gave it to Matt Wolf, who I know I saw one of his other documentaries. He's a well-known documentarian. But Paul Rubens was a Hollywood star. He's narcissistic and controlling. That's pretty much you have to be if you want to be that big of a star. But yeah, he still opens up quite a bit, but not a lot. He did not tell the documentarians. They talked to him for like hours and hours, and not once did he tell them that he had been suffering from cancer for 6 years.
No.
So when he stopped talking to them, they thought it was because, oh man, he's really mad. No, he had relapsed. So, but obviously he wasn't prepared to talk about everything.
No.
So, I hope we get more stuff. I hope they open his house as a museum or something, because that collection he had is just astounding.
I bet.
It is really incredible. But I highly recommend that. That's on HBO Max. And that has been my Geeky Week.
Yesterday, I went to the doctor and just for my yearly checkup. And did you know?
Did I?
Did you know that, even myself is 47, I had certain expectations for a doctor's visit. And, they don't do the turning cough and Moon River anymore.
No, they don't.
Yeah, they really don't. So
these past few years, I told you.
Are you like, oh man?
So here's the thing. Afterwards, I went and
I had some wine first.
Look, the thing is, afterwards, I thought I'd treat myself to a steak sandwich, and it was like mid at best. So really, all in all, I had a very disappointing morning yesterday. So when I found, because I was waiting, and the doctor told me, go ahead and get your blood drawn. And I'm like, okay. So I go get, they do the blood, and then the gal's like, okay, just, go check out over there. And I'm like, check out? Do I need to go back into reception? You guys wait to call me?
Miss, who's going to finger me?
Well, that was the thing. I had an expectation going in. Apparently, that was when I found out that it wasn't a thing. Because I even went to the the gal behind the counter when I was doing my checkout, and I was like, I feel like there was supposed to be more to this visit. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, I was,
happy ending.
I'd been not a happy ending, but I was like, I had to work. Look, I shaved and everything for it.
I had to jiggle myself.
No, I basically was just like, I thought that I had to psych myself up knowing that this was coming and whatnot. And
Psych yourself up watching Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah. And especially that episode of Letterkenny. Right. And I was basically like, is there anything, is there, and she's like, no, we don't do that anymore. And I was like,
you would think that like with the older that you get as a man, you need to have your prostate checked because prostate cancer becomes more of a risk. They just couldn't tell anything from that procedure.
That's the colonoscopy.
They've been doing it. Well, then what are they doing up there?
Well, I'm gonna be. Well, I mean, I've got a colonoscopy scheduled for whenever coming up here soon. But but that was the thing. That was I just didn't know. And so I had to ask the guy. I was like, is this because? I was like, honest question here: is it because science progressed, or is it because of the ungreat Gonzo up in DC right now, who's in charge of all the health stuff, saying like, I don't think we really need that anymore. But
No one touch me. No one touch anybody.
But no. It's actually, they're like, well, we actually kind of found out that there's other ways that we can test for that kind of stuff. Now I'm like, oh, okay then. Well, all right. So.
And all of the nurses went,
Right.
Well, I just wanted to make sure it wasn't just me. But so that, and then the past couple weeks been doing a rewatch of Scream Queens.
Nice.
And I just want to say again, Chad
Radwell, baby.
Freaking Glenn Powell. I remember watching it the first time. We referenced, I referenced Chad Radwell every chance I got during GRD. If you go back and listen to those episodes, and holy cow, it is so cool to see how much he's blown up because
how many stingers were Chad Radwell?
Yeah, exactly. Because it's like, man, there's something about this kid. Holy cow, he is just note perfect in everything that he's doing. Every movement, everything.
Him, but you can't.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Also, watch I believe it's the last episode of the current season of Leverage Redemption. That show just keeps firing on all cylinders, and I love it. Obviously, Doctor Who, as we talked about, which is great. Now, one thing that I went back and watched, the first season before I move on. Yes, Billy?
No, one thing.
Oh, what?
No, that's what you said, one thing.
Oh.
Yeah.
I did not mean to distract you, sir.
Sorry.
You don't normally have video. You remember?
Oh, yeah. I'm tired. Sorry.
You gotta learn not to look at him or listen to him.
No, normally when he does that, that means that he's got something to say. So it's just like, okay. And then I saw you wiggle, and I'm like, oh, he's got something right now. Okay.
One thing.
Red rum.
And then I just thought about what I was missing from the doctor.
Trying to help, man.
The worst part was when afterwards you'd check the wind.
Wow.
Poker Face.
Yes.
Oh, is that back on? Okay.
It is back on, and we've got to get the episodes.
The second season is out. Haven't started those yet because just finished season 1. I had never seen it before. Holy cow.
I watched 3 of them and went, I got to stop and told her, you got to watch this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I mean, like, Natasha.
That happens in here.
I love Natasha Lyonne.
Yep.
And she's just, there were so many times where I just had to rewind just to watch her reaction to something again. And it
Incidentally, Natasha Lyonne was a child actor on Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yes, she was.
That's right.
Wow.
That's right. But yeah, I love her because she's like this sexy Borscht Belt Jewish comedian kind of gal. I adore her so much. And then
her
of course,
voice is so unique.
Oh.
You know it's her. Yeah, she's
Mhm.
Catherine Hahn. There's just like certain there's no one else like them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and one of the cool things that she does, and this is something that I've seen with certain actors, she just roll with me on this. She does things with her mouth, right?
She's very expressive.
It's little things that people don't realize. It's same thing that James Spader will do, Timothy Hutton would do. A lot of the older actors will do it also. Well, they're just sitting there and they'll say something and then they'll just kind of like open their mouth. Just no sound or anything. Just like, Like there's something else that they're not throwing out there. And it's such a natural thing because we've seen people do that. It's just those little tiny things. And it's just like, girl, you've led a hard life. And I know that's the stuff that you're pulling from, but still you have way more presence than you should have at your age. But I adore her. And so, as I mentioned, also Murderbot, which I am loving. And I'm sure that there's a dozen things that I forgot to mention. But, and there's fishing in Fallout 76 now. Anyway, that's been my Geeky Week.
Sweet. Comics, I'm caught up on Green Lantern. I'm still following Batman's Last Halloween, which needs to go ahead and get to the last episode. The wrap up for the questions all along the Watchtower, where she's providing security for the Justice League Watchtower. Wow, that's just such an epically wonderful, stupid ending that everyone should do this. I'm also reading a collected edition of an Elseworld series from a few years ago called Dark Knights of Steel, which is the DC universe set in like the medieval ages, which is kind of a fascinating read, especially in this one where Jonathan, his wife, and kid all take the rocket to Earth, and that changes the whole dynamic of things. It's very strange. Absolute Green Lantern 2 is still continuing what is probably one of the best horror comics around right now, and that it's just so unsettling and odd the way this whole thing is going down. DC has their Pride issue out, which is it's one long story written by a bunch of different people of various characters popping into bubble universes, and it all turns out the reason why is because all of them have etched on a wall in this 100-year-old gay bar from Gotham that's getting ready to close. So it's a wonderful, goofy little story that ties all that around. I've also read the next episode of the Vigilante Eagly comic. So here's why you need to read this issue. Ready? I wrote this down specifically for this, because in this we do see Peacemaker, who gets to say the line, "Why did you wake me up? I was having the sweetest dream about 3 virgins, a baby pool full of Vaseline, a double-ended dildo, and some Oompa Loompas." So, how do you not want to read this comic?
Wait, wasn't that at the end of Requiem on the Dream?
The director's cut. I think it was the director's cut of that. I have watched the show Project UFO, which is a Polish show. It's set in the early 80s about what's described as the Polish Roswell, if you will. You got a guy with his TV show who's famous for this kind of things, who's getting involved in this alleged alien encounter that happens. You have this legitimate scientist guy who's trying to get his beliefs that they're not UFOs, they're USOs, because they're actually unidentified submersible objects, because coming all from space, it's just impractical and impossible. These aliens, as we call them, actually come from under the sea itself. So it's a weird little ride. It's a strange little ride. I had a good time with it, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you will or not. There's that. I watched the movie Heart Eyes.
It's not bad.
It's a serial killer who has a mask that has heart eyes.
Oh, Carol talked about this last time. Yeah.
Kills couples on Valentine's Day. And the fascinating part of this movie to me is that it happens to be a slasher movie, but it actually is a romantic comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Because our two main characters do have a meet cute at the beginning of the film.
Funny.
Learn more about each other and all blah, 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 blah. Once you figure out exactly what all's happening, nothing about this movie makes the slightest bit of sense at all. But no, it's if you are a slasher movie person, you will enjoy this. There are not, it's not a satire of, but there are definitely nods and things that it knows slasher movies as it plays along. So you will enjoy it. You'll absolutely enjoy it on that aspect. Absolutely. So
some good gory kills too.
Oh, dude, yeah. If you want some gory kills, yeah. And that's the beautiful thing. Like the romantic comedy parts of the movie happen so much that when the killer comes back, it can be genuinely startling that the tonal shift happens when the killer gets there.
Yeah. Right? It's like you almost forget what movie you're in.
It works very well for that. And I gotta say, probably one of the best post-credit sequences in something for a while, because you think they're going one way and that's not what happens, and so nice. So I told her, I'm like, you might want to watch this because it is a romantic comedy. So maybe we'll see. Last night at midnight, the Switch 2 came out. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Hell yeah. So last night at midnight, I got my Switch 2. Now here's words you don't hear often. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
So kudos to GameStop.
Ooh.
GameStop, when you got there, and you've already pre-ordered?
At least ours. Yeah.
No, I found out this was GameStop's thing all the way through. It was not just them.
They finally have figured out how to do this.
They have figured out how to do a console release. So they printed you out a copy of your receipt showing that you have paid for it, and they stapled a number to it. There's another copy of that number that went to the back. And you found out at midnight why it went to the back. Because what they did was took your number, another copy
of your products,
pulled your stuff and put it in a bag and put that in. And so when you walked up, you just went, I'm number 75, you're number 75, here you go, and walked out the door.
Oh, see, I like it. I like it.
That was tremendous. And of course, they had pizza, wings, and breadsticks and some drinks. So, hey.
Mm-hmm. I mean, obviously, you check it, you make sure it's right. But
of course I did. I looked in the bag to make sure. But
they
I thanked them. I was like, I want you guys to
drive through.
It's like I've been to a lot of midnight releases. I got to tell you guys, this was smooth. This was very, very well done. Thank you.
It only took
That's
you
awesome.
26 years to figure it out.
So I brought it
Several
home.
consoles.
I tried to do the system transfer from the old Switch, but then it wanted the pin from your parental controls, which we have on the Switch, and it wasn't the numbers I thought it was, and I failed, and it said, it's going to take 30 minutes. Michael, I ain't got 30 minutes. So I basically did the install for Mario Kart World, and for Survival Kids, another game that we got, we did the install on those, and I went to sleep. So this morning, when little girl wakes up, I take her to camp late, and we played the Switch for 2.5 hours. I picked her up from camp early.
Y'all are lucky we like you, GRD fans, or else we'd be playing right
Look,
now.
this was good, you know, because of this, I picked her up early from camp, meaning she missed her martial arts class. So I told her, well, you got to come with me to my class at 6 o'clock. So I make sure you get all your classes in before your belt test. And then while we're there, she's like, can I stay for the grappling class afterwards? So that kind of killed me getting home and getting things done. Then we came home and played, all three of us, so we could all play Mario Kart together.
Aw.
Blah, 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 blah. So yeah, no, it's fantastic.
It's
It is
crazy.
wonderful. And we'll talk more about that in a moment. I don't want to spoil all that time as of right now.
The wonderful Billy Flynn looks at what Chad and Abby are up to now. If you know what TV show they're on this week, you could win yourself a prize. It's your further adventures of Chad and Abby update.
Chad is sent to join the military by a judge, so haha, no more shenanigans, Chad. Okay, well, maybe a few, because Sergeant Stefan is sort of a kindred spirit. Captain Abe arrives, and he's kind of a hard ass, and that shakes things up. But you know that bad boy Chad just loves all that. Chad and the recruit tries to make the base a great place to hang out in, but then now, oh my God, it's time to ship out and see who is actually paying attention in class. And Captain Abe is probably going to be just a little bit demanding. Private Chad decides that maybe he should clean up his act. He decides that, while love stinks, his military career is probably just a little more pungent. Sergeant Stefan says, be positive. It will all work out as long as we are on the battalion performance, the infantry production, the ranks staging. Hashtag Chappie forever.
Looks like you've got mail waiting.
We do. And I wasn't smart enough to actually put them in the document, so hold on a second while I actually go to my email and read the email. Where is my email? There's my email, right? This is it. It's loading. Wow, I'm terrible at this. So I told you, I finished 2 minutes before we started. Before we turned on the camera, I was running so ragged. That extra hour that I lost with her taking that second class. Oh, I did squeeze in a power nap, so that was good. Oh, wait, no, that's the old.
You haven't even had dinner.
No, I haven't. I have not eaten yet. Hi, geeks. Thank you all so much. Terry, you even remembered my fan posters for the River City Roller Girls? I'm surprised anyone remembers that. I've completely lost touch with them. I'm guessing they stopped using email and completely switched to social media, which I never remember to check. And Flynn, thanks for working extra hard at figuring out how to put a link to my webcomic site in your show notes. It works! And I'm too tired right now to say anything else. Thanks again. Stay safe. That is from Bill. So yes, Bill, no. The notes, that's the easy part. Putting it into the actual stream? Well, yeah, that's all. Thank you, Rich. Good job, Rich. That's how that works. GRD, they are on a show called The American Girls. I've never heard of it. That is from Roger. Roger, that's a scintillating email, but I pulled your name out of the bag, so congratulations, sir. Yes. That's where Chad and Abby were last time.
Roger.
Right, so there you go. So talk to me and make it happen. Hi again, geeks. Thanks for explaining that's what's usually this. Take two. Thanks for explaining that what's usually the stinger is from Quark. I remember enjoying the show and being sad when it ended. Good to hear Richard Benjamin again. And thanks for explaining Skibbity Toilet. There is a Patreon person there. I've heard people say it's something like the kids are into, and good to know there's an actual silly story, something of a successor to Monty Python and Incognito Cinema Warriors. This is my second time writing all of this. My laptop is old and lost its internet connection, so now I'm off to run to work. Stay safe. That is again from Bill. So thank you, Bill. Yeah, so if you're a Patreon person, last time Rich and I both forgot that we were talking about Andor. Oops.
Well,
so, I know. So since we forgot we were talking about Andor, we both wrote a news story. So for the Patreon folks, we did our news stories, and mine was about Michael Bay is making Skibbity Toilet the movie.
That sounds like something from the studio.
Or like Mad Libs.
That sounds more like Uwe Boll.
So, yeah, so that's kind of a weird kind of thing. So
That's
what are you
the
going to do
thing.
about it? So very cool. Of course, drop a note to us. It's podcast@geekradiodaily.com. You can send a voicemail, a text message. That's going to be
510 GRD Grill.
So if you are here now, if you're listening now, this is a kind of a big week thing for streaming for us because tomorrow we are playing Jackbox as we usually do. However, you might remember a few months back, we debuted a new game coming out that wasn't finished yet called Jokes on Us. Well, that game is done and ready to come out to you. And those folks contacted us and said, hey, would you guys like to play again this Friday? And we'll do it. So we're going to play the completed version of Jokes on Us tomorrow night on Jackbox. And it will also be on their Discord server as well. So that's right. We're not going to cross the streams, but there will be streams. That is plural. So you should come join us. It's going to be a damn fine time.
Which, by the way, this channel, Billy Flynn's been playing on it.
We did the test on it. We did the test of how Mario Kart went with the old Switch. It worked. It worked fine. We had to fix a double audio issue, but we got that out of the way, so it works. So Saturday night, we are streaming Mario Kart World. There were a few of you in line last night at GameStop with me that wrote down our information when I said that, and you said you would be joining that. If you are, cool, because as I said, we're going to open it up. As long as you don't have a name that Nintendo wouldn't allow, so I think we're safe, we're going to open up the code and let people play because 24 people can race at once.
Wow.
And that's just insane. Do you know how you would get pissed off at Mario Kart because you went from 1st to 8th? Well, now I'm like going from 1st to like a 16th, and it sucks.
Yeah. I was like, what happened? But you can pass like 8 people at once.
Yeah. It's hopping. You can grind on rails now. There is a wonderful Donkey Kong level where the last part of the lap is the actual Donkey Kong stage because you go up, turn, go up, turn, go up. Donkey Kong up to the top of the ladder. And there's a set of rails that end, and you have to hop from rail to rail to keep grinding as you go. And that's just insanity and crazy. And yes, I can't wait to share that with the world. So please come join us.
You don't have to push the button to hold the item behind you.
You no longer have to hold the button to hold an item behind you. It does it automatically. And that is me up so many times because I keep pushing the button to hold it and I launch it.
Yep. You can play as the cow.
You can play as the cow.
Moo Meadows.
From Moo Meadows. You can play as the cow.
You can play as all the weird ass characters in the background.
There's a bee. You can play as a crab.
And we haven't even unlocked them all yet.
No, we haven't. There are so many characters to unlock. There's so much stuff to do in this game. It's ridiculous. And I've not even played the cross-out mode. There is a mode where you play the game, and there's certain check marks along the way. You have to be in a certain place or higher to be able to keep going. And if you're lower, your game ends. And of course, the very last one, you have to be in first place.
That's like Mario 99 or whatever.
It's sort of a Mario 99, but it's 24. Yeah. So there you go. So come join us. We're going to have a lot of fun. I promise you it's going to be something cool, something special, something magical that you will completely enjoy because that's just the way we do things. Click.
I'm Tony Southcott.
I'm Albert Bird.
Hi. Tell me something fun, Tony. Life isn't fun.
That is the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
We started getting like the real nitty-gritty of like what being a critic's about. In-depth reviews that aren't loaded with spoilers.
Watch this movie. This movie's good.
There's no anger there. There's no frustration.
As long as I'm not shoveling feces directly into my mouth, I'm fine.
And things allegedly got weirder.
The Human Echoes Podcast!
It's Thursday night, and the podcast is just an extended argument about whether hot dogs are sandwiches, but everyone has to talk in pirate voices. Come play Jackbox with Geek Radio Daily on Friday night, and maybe Flynn will whisper ominously, "Someone left the cake out in the rain."
I've been known to say some weird shit, so that's entirely possible.
Was that the vicar from the original Geek?
No. That's Cookie Masterson from Jackbox.
Oh, wow.
Oh, my gosh.
We have like 9 different return liners from Cookie Masterson.
Wow.
That's courtesy of Syrinx. Thank you, Syrinx, for making that happen.
Wow, Syrinx. Wow.
That is special. That is all kinds of spiffy. And then we push a button.
I'm not wearing any pants. Film at 11.
Geek News!
Who's taking a look at the world from a geeky point of view.
In June of 2025, the Louisiana House of Representatives passed a bill to ban chemtrails, driven by conspiracy theorists suggesting that aircraft exhaust is used to manipulate weather patterns. State Representative Kimberly Landry Coates, who introduced the bill, claimed that the chemicals released by aircraft are part of geoengineering efforts to alter the climate. The bill passed with a 58-32 vote and includes an amendment for the Louisiana Department of Environmental Quality to monitor reported chemtrail sightings. Because we're in the dumbest timeline. Despite the bill's passage, scientific consensus holds that the visible streaks behind airplanes, known as contrails, are harmless condensation formed when hot air exhaust interacts with cold air. Of course, NOAA and the EPA have consistently refuted claims of weather manipulation and emphasized that there are no such programs. Experts warn that such legislation could unintentionally affect legitimate practices like cloud seeding, a method used in drought-prone areas to encourage precipitation, through its effectiveness remains uncertain. So yous is saying they do control the weather. Curse you, Jewish space lasers! Louisiana's move aligns with similar legislative efforts in other states, including Florida and Tennessee, and of course broader initiatives to regulate geoengineering, which are under consideration in 24 other states. Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has expressed support for these measures, reiterating conspiracy theories about weather manipulation. The growing legislation attention to chemtrails reflects a broader trend of policy being influenced by fringe theories, raising concerns among scientists and environmental experts. Now, of course, in other news, a new law was just passed in Washington state saying campers are now required to add a blended spice rub to their deodorant or face criminal charges, according to Secretary of the Interior John Bigfoot.
I love that you're going to outlaw basic science. I love that. That's fantastic.
Dumbest timeline. Flames.
Speaking of the dumbest,
flames on the side of my head. Sorry.
Speaking of the dumbest timeline, who likes to read during the summer? Sure, we all do. Just be careful what reading lists you pick up, because some newspapers around the country, including the Chicago Sun-Times and at least one edition of the Philadelphia Inquirer, have published a syndicated summer book reading list that includes made-up books by famous authors. Chilean-American novelist Isabel Allende never wrote a book called Tidewater Dreams, described in the summer reading list of 2025 as the author's first climate fiction novel. Percival Everett, who won the 2025 Pulitzer Prize for Fiction, never wrote a book called The Rainmakers, supposedly set in a near-future American West where artificially induced rain has become a luxury commodity. Apparently, that's set on Tatooine. Only 5 of the 15 titles on the list were real. And of those 5, 3 were pretty old books, including Ray Bradbury's Dandelion Wine, which Ray Bradbury also coincidentally loathed computers, which is ironic considering a computer wrote this list. According to Victor Lim, marketing director for the Chicago Sun-Times, the marketing director for the Chicago Sun-Times' parenting company, Chicago Public Media. Oh my God, what a mouthful. The list was part of a licensed content provided by King Features, a unit of the publisher Hearst newspapers. The list has no byline. Apparently, Wall-E didn't want to put his name on the list, but writer Marco Buscaglia has claimed responsibility for it and says it was partially generated by artificial intelligence.
Yeah, there were three of them.
3/4 generated by artificial intelligence. In an email, Buscaglia writes, "Huge mistake on my part." No, really? And has nothing to do with the Sun-Times. They just published it. They trust that the content they purchase is accurate, and I betrayed that trust. It is on me 100%.
Yeah, it is.
We're looking into how this made it into print as we speak, said a statement given to press by Lim. This is licensed content that was not created by or approved by the Sun-Times newsroom, but it is unacceptable for any content we provide to our readers to be inaccurate. We value our readers' trust in our reporting and take this very seriously. More info will be provided as soon as we investigate and find ourselves clear of any wrongdoing.
I bet AI wrote that script.
The fake summer reading list is dated May 18th, 2 months after the Chicago Sun-Times announced that 20% of its staff had accepted buyouts as the paper's nonprofit owner, Chicago Public Media, deals with fiscal hardship. Well,
Right.
you know, you're going to deal with fiscal hardship when you replace your reporters with really, really dumb computers. And I guess I can scratch Marley and Me by Ebenezer Scrooge off my reading list.
Nice.
Look, AI is a powerful tool, but it has to be wielded. And also, even when you use a tool to hammer a nail in, you still make sure that the nail is in properly. You even double check afterwards. You do not you don't just set the hammer down and expect it to nail. No, it is a tool that needs to be used and not just, it doesn't do oh my God, people.
But please be careful of who utilizes that tool, because I
Yes.
noticed that I get the book of the month, and one of the selections for June was by James Frey, who has openly admitted he uses AI to write his books. And this is also the dude that wrote, that was on Oprah. He wrote a memoir that turned out to be completely fake. The one with the little dots all over the hands. I can't remember what it was called, but it turned out wasn't his memoir at all. And now he's using AI to write books, and the book of the month is actually using them as selections. So
look,
please...
I thought his book was good. It was no Art of the Deal or Hillbilly Eulogy.
I did a TikTok where I did 5 books that made me the reader I am today, and it was all just different copies of The Hobbit that I own.
Nice.
I love it. Well, I got some interesting news. A new game, a new Bond game. 007 is 007 First Light is coming from Hitman Studios. Since we all know there've been some really great James Bond games over the years, essentially GoldenEye. From the Nintendo 64, staple of the video game generation. But there's been, Agent Under Fire, Nightfire, Everything or Nothing, PlayStation 2, lots of different things. Late 90s, early aughts had Bond games to spare. The last 13 years have been really sparse. So at Sony's recent State of Play event, they announced a new Bond game, and it's made by studio, I think it's IOI or 101. I'm not sure how to say it. The studio behind the Hitman series.
101.
Okay. So it looks to be kind of like similar to the Hitman games, third person mission with many different ways to complete it. But we do get a story that kind of resets the table of Bond's early days, a brand new 00 agent who has to prove himself, exotic locations, cool gadgetry, characters like Q and M, of course, the cars. It's pretty good news. Hitman games are pretty fun. Also some humor, right? Tongue in cheek, a pretty great merging. So this should be cool. Here's the part that's really pretty cool about it. The face model for Bond in this is a direct representation of Ian Fleming's original description for the character from the books. Facial scars and everything. I mean, he's still handsome, and he doesn't look like Daniel Craig or Sean Connery. They don't look like the guy in the books. So, I mean, that's definitely kind of cool. So that's 007 First Light. Hopefully we'll have a gameplay trailer later this summer, game releasing in 2026. It'll never be as good as GoldenEye, but it's kind of cool to see another Bond game hitting the market.
Yeah. Ironically, looks exactly like George Lazenby.
That was the man. So before the running of this year's Indy 500, the real race, and dare I say the actual race, took place, and doggone it, it was epic. Now, please don't worry. With that line, I did not mean to try to say that they were going to outdo the Puppy Bowl and had dogs driving anything. No.
Bears driving.
It was actually a moment of hot dog history, because the 6 official Oscar Mayer Wienermobiles took to the Indy track.
Wow.
For a red-hot race to see which car was the fastest, which of course means Jess. They were hot dogging. No one really thinks of the Wienermobile as a sports car, but these vehicles did put on a show. And it came down to 2 very close competitors at the finish lines. I mean, the margin was like half a bun. It marked the first time in history all 6 Wienermobiles were at one event at the same time. It was a winner-take-all event. As we get close to the end of the race, Two Wienermobiles were neck and neck, but suddenly one of them, ba-doom, ba-doom, and smoke starts pouring out of the back, and it had to stop racing, which means, yes, that wiener was cooked. Racing fans were thrilled. No one had seen hot dogs move this fast since Joey Chestnut was on the scene. And as the winning car crossed the finish line, an adulation of "hot dog" went up through the sky from all of the crowd. And the driver said that they would certainly relish this day for the rest of their life. And hey, look, this was all in good fun. Everyone had a great time. There were no sour crowd losers. GRD is licensed under the Creative Commons Attribution, non-commercial, non-derivative works.
Did the one near the end ever catch up?
Wow, that sounds like a real sausage fest.
See, I wondered how to fit that joke in. Thank you for that. GRD license, of course, the Creative Commons Attribution, non-commercial, non-derivative works. Super license. Check us out on Facebook, Twitter, stop at the website at geekrealidata.com. Come join the Twitch thing. We're doing lots of stuff on Twitch now, and we're going to do a shit ton of it this weekend. Please be there. It'll be fun. You're going to like it.
New media.
Right?
Yeah.
I know we're 3 years damn late to it, but that's what we do. Okay?
Three.
That's just what we do. And
Three.
We were just waiting for it to get all the bugs out.
Right.
Friend us on MySpace.
I don't know if you noticed, but the podcast was a disaster. Good night, suckers.
Funny, I detect no source of amusement.
What can I get you?
I'd like a large coffee.
Okay, so hot coffee.
Hot coffee.
Okay, room for cream.
Totally leave room for cream.
Why are you talking like that?
Why are you talking like that?
Because this is my voice?
This is my voice.
No, it's not. I heard you talking a minute ago. I know you don't talk like that.
Neither do you, because nobody actually talks like this. You choose to talk like this, and today I chose to talk like this. Pretty annoying, isn't it?
Why are you so rude, man?
Just stop doing that.
I can't help it. This is my voice.
No, it's not. It's an affectation that annoying teenagers and rich people use to sound like they don't give a shit. Except you work in a coffee shop, so I know you're not rich, and you don't look like a teenager. Unless you're Eunice Kennedy Shriver, knock it off.
So just because I talk like this means I don't give a shit? And what exactly am I supposed to not give a shit about?
That's an excellent question to ask yourself in your actual voice.
Excuse me. Some of us would like to order.
You're a total dick, man.
There you go. Good. You're talking.
That's Ron Livingston, right?
Ron Livingston.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, what is that from? Because I saw that clip recently.
That is the show Louder Milk.
Okay.
In which he plays a recovering alcoholic who actually runs a self-help group at a local church. It is quite hysterical.
Okay. I would definitely have to check that out.
Will Sasso is his roommate.
Ooh. I like a Will Sasso. Oh, man, I hope one day he gets the props that he deserves, because he is such a utility guy.
Like he should. Never, ever.
Ugh.
Never.
So I'm doing something cool with AI at work that, I mean, I still am pretty anti.
You're gonna kill people, oh God.
In general, right? Like, certainly when it comes to like ripping off art, 100% against all of that, right? But we're doing this like closed AI with like a knowledge share bot where like if you feed it documents, then you can ask it questions about the documents. So like you could put in the whole like instruction manual for something and then be like, this isn't working, what should I do, kind of thing. Or like, you know, just like, it should actually be really cool. The girl, though, I connected with somebody from IT today, and they were showing me it, and they've made a bot where you can make your own bot. So, yeah, it's kind of cool.
Oh no, the whole.
Like, I was just gonna say some of the things that like take so long that are so stupid and tedious. It's just like the computer should be doing that.
Did you say bots making bots?
No,
Do you want the Matrix? This is how you get the Matrix.
Yes, it is very Skynet, whatever, but like. Yeah.
No, but it's a tool. Like I said, it is a tool, and when used as a tool, it's fantastic. But if you have it do all of your work for you, you are not an artist. You're a keyboard.
Humans ever just use tools as tools?
Well, yeah, I know that. I know that.
There's this doctor that started using a hammer for a new medical procedure.
But it's kind of cool because I was like, can you sort of explain to me, like I'm 5, like like sort of how it's working? But she was saying like it basically, instead of just reading the sentences and doing like a 1-for-1 keyword search, it's like ranking the words in order of importance in the sentence. I thought that was pretty cool. Now, of course, how is it determining all of that? What's important?
It's feelings.
Frequency of use in the document set. I don't know. It's
The
still got a
rules set
long way
forth
to
by
go.
Arthur C. Clarke.
It's kind of cool.
That's why paperweight's a very important word. He loved paperweights.
He did, huh? Well, hey, it's not that late. You want to go play some Mario Kart?
Yeah, let's do that.
All right, they're going to play some Mario Kart. Guys, thank you so much for watching. And we'll have some news, hopefully, next week or next show. And we'll
June
get everything
19th.
set up then. June 19th. So,
Oh, Juneteenth.
all right.
Celebrate history with us on the show.
Yeah. For white people.
For white people.
Who better to explain the holiday than 4 lily white people? Thank you.
Exactly. Be good, have fun, make decisions. We'll see you guys later.